Hi, hello, welcome to Peas in a Pod. It's 7th of May. We're here in sunny Rotherham, South Yorkshire again on Oakley Lane. As we mentioned last week, we're going to have a look at planting up a moss hanging basket. So I found the smallest basket I could get, which is huge. Before we go any further then, one quick tip before you start putting anything in your basket. If you get a basket that comes and the chains are already attached, just take one of your clips off, because this will get buried in compost after you've planted it and it can cause problems. So all I do, unclip it and just put it down the right way. Smash it. Right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a layer of moss in the bottom here. So I've got a nice bag full of moss. Be on the generous side with the moss, because that's what's going to stop your compost from escaping and falling out through the bottom of the basket. So, bring a good old amount in, another handful I reckon. And you're not using as much as you start coming up, but you need to put plenty in at the base of your basket. Just to touch that up a little bit there, see if you can see. You should be able to see above them tomatoes, I think. Right, a bit more. So what we're doing is, this type of basket, we've got 3 lots of holes. So we're just coming up to the base of that first hole. Yeah. Right, then if you cut a bit of plastic, that's your next thing. It's just off a compost bag, doesn't have to be anything special. Stick that in the bottom.
What's the reason for the bag in the bottom?
For bag, it just retains moisture a bit more, and also obviously because the basket's up, when you water it, it stops it dripping on you.
Yeah.
You know.
Good little tip.
Yep. Right, so then we're going to put in a small layer of compost. It's just, as you can see, Mother Earth multi-purpose compost. It's that phrase again, Danny, it's nothing special.
Just the ordinary one of them there.
Yep. Oh, another little thing as well, if you are doing this, I'm lucky that I've got a table at a decent height. They are bad if you're stooping over, so if you just turn a pot upside down, sit it on a pot. One of those flower buckets are ideal for just sitting it in the flower bucket,
the little 10 litre one.
Yeah, because you will need to be turning it as well at some stage. So like a bit like a sponge pudding or a sponge cake, that's his first layer done. So that's his first sponge. Now we're going to put some cream in, so we're going to put some plants in.
I love a bit of cream.
And the plants we're going with, we're using 2 in these baskets. We're using Cephinias, which is this one here, which is Night Skies. Yep. And we're also going to use, really as a bit of a filler till Cephinias get going, just a pack of petunias. They're a bit drawn then, but they're fine, they'll be okay. Right, fetch one out of its pot. We're doing nice, we'll pass it through that gap, and then I'm just going to put it to one side there, so it's trapped behind that metal bar, just to keep it in place. And we're just going to put 3 in. At different angles around the pot, so we'll come from the outside, then you're not damaging your foliage. That's it. Bits will fall, but that's okay. One more on this layer. So that's him. Got a good handful of moss. Right, what I want to do is really wedge that in down there to keep that guy in place. I don't want us to be seeing compost or anything like that. We're going tight up to the edge now though, we're not putting it in the middle. We're sort of making a wall of moss on the inside of your basket. Yep. Another good handful. Just touch him back. Really pack him in. Get some more in there. Yep. So I've got to put plenty of moss in. That's the thing. To retain that compost and retain moisture. Right, so if you're getting, you can see we've created another layer now. And what I've done is I've come up to that second level. So I've had a bottom level, this is the second level. And we'll put another 3 plants in. In fact, no, what I'm going to do first, sorry. I'm going to bring the compost up to the same level as this moss.
It's really like watching a cake get made.
It is a bit, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
not cake.
We'll fetch him out to the ends. Just firm him gently again, like I say, but you know, you're not tapping mortar down. You see that's all nicely up to that level, all nice and level with that bar again. So we'll put a second layer in. So we're going to alternate to where these Saphinias are. So obviously there's a big gap there, so we'll have one in there. You can see it nicely there. Pop these labels out. One here. Again, like I say, having this chain out at way does make it a lot simpler than fighting with the chain. Yeah, just clip it off.
So I suppose if you were to hang it up and try and mend it while it was hung up, it'd be in your way. It'd be a lot.
It'd be hard work. I'm just gonna bring that one a bit this way and put that one in there. That sits nicely. That's sat nicely. Thing is, you take your time with this because once it's up all summer. So make sure you're happy with. I'm still not happy with how the plants are sat. Yeah, that's about right for me. I'm convinced I'm going to pull this mic off. I'm having a proper go at it, aren't I, today?
Yeah, it's wanting to get in that moss.
Right, so again, spinal layer of moss now, like it's so nice and tight around them plants. If you can see, I don't know if Dan wants to get up, take a photo to put on of this, but you start to get this effect now. Let me just dust this moss, excess moss off. A really nice looking sort of planting. Yeah. Got no compost visible on the outsides.
And will that moss stay that colour? Or will it obviously?
If this moss starts going grey, you're not watering your basket enough.
Right, okay.
So this is an indicator
That you need to-
for watering as well. Yep. It's one of the reasons we use it.
Quite a messy job as well.
It is, yeah, you need to be doing it. I mean, it's not a job to be doing on the kitchen table. I think if I tried this, I'd soon be ousted. I'm going to go with a bit more moss. So really getting packed in. Once he's binded, you know, it's like a glue, it'll all bind this when you get your compost in. That's top layer. So again, some more sponge. I think we've put roughly about 12 litres of compost in here. This is a 2 litre pot.
Yeah.
I reckon I've done 5 or 6, so about 12 litres of compost. Any waste that's looking a bit, you know, just tighten them up along the gaps. That's him. Keep him nice and clean. Right, so planting the edges, I'm going to go with 4 Saphinias. So planting the top layer. The icing sugar, Dan, now we're on a cake theme.
I'm just getting hungry now.
Sugar rush. That can fall down there, it's not a prob. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going with all the same colour, just to do a nice 2 colour coordinated baskets. You can put, you know, whatever is your fancy in them really, but I do like to keep it a minimum of colours to look less fussy. If you have one or too many things in, like you've got a trailing geranium in, and you've got a trailing fuchsia, and you've got a million bells, and you've got Saphinias, and they compete, and you can get colour clashes. So I like to keep colours simple but effective. And this one is, I'll just say again, is Night Skies.
It's a really nice flower.
It is a nice Saphinia. So again, planting round the edges. I'll come back to that. Yep. So that's the Saphinias. So we've had 10 Saphinias in for this big basket. So obviously a smaller basket, you'd not be needing as many. You know, if you're down to a 14 inch, you're probably just wanting 3 Saphinias around the edge and then 3 in the top. Right, and I'm just going to pop in some of these petunias. These will just act like fillers, so basically you'll get most of your flower will come straight away out of these, while these Saphinias are getting old, and then the Saphinias will basically take the petunias out. So again, so in between, again on the edges, where you've put them Saphinias in, planting them in between. And I know what everybody who's watching this will be saying in a minute, and there's a reason for it. You can always cut your petunias back if they are a bit leggy, a bit elongated. Right, so that's the basket, that's the plants in, that's all the planting I'm going to do on this basket. Because there's nothing in the middle.
It is.
That's the reason. You're planting a basket, you're not planting a planter. It's not somebody walking past on stilts who's looking at this, you know. Or as one of my gaffers says, top deck of a bus. You know. So you're viewing this from below. So we plant to the edge to get this cascading. Now what that allows me to do, Dan, if you want to get in and have a look as well. So I've got plants right down here.
Yep.
Takes some time for them to get some water when they're competing with plants above. So I do this. So simple, Dan. We edge the compost out, we make a well in the middle. So then when we water into that well. So straight away then, when you try watering on the edge, it all drips back on you. We'll just make that all in the middle, and that gives a nice little well to water into. So that's it. 1 or 2 more things while we're here, while we're on baskets. What you really want to avoid doing is making a basket up in the morning and then planting it straight out.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but I think we said it's 7th of May.
Yeah.
This is going out on first week of June.
Right.
This is going to stop in greenhouse. I'm going to get these plants to establish and get going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sat on here just for purpose of ease while we're filming at minute. But I will put it onto a bucket so it gives it space and air underneath it to get some air circulation. Loads of water. Plenty of water. Don't mix John Innes compost with this.
No.
Because it will make it too heavy on your brackets. You just want peat. If you are doing a large basket like this is a 20-inch basket, the day when you're ready to hang it up, the night before don't water it, because it will be lighter for you to hang up. Like go on the light side. You can always give it plenty of water once it's up, but believe me, these are heavy if they've just been watered and you're lifting them up.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't sound a lot, does it, with 12 litres of compost?
No.
I mean, but
Yeah.
Once you start adding weight to it.
So once you start watering it as well, because this is very retentive of water, is sphagnum moss.
Yeah.
So that will hold, I don't know, 10, 20 times its own weight in water easily. So that's all putting weight on. When these start sending the roots out and the growth, that's adding weight as well. So yeah. Feeding wise, a general feed, whatever you've got available, you know, a balanced feed is fine. Once it's out, like I said, this be going out first week of June, once you start getting quite a lot of flower, that old trick again, switch to tomato food, because that's high in potassium for fruits and flowers. So if you remember back on previous episodes now, we've done tomatoes, we've done roses, now we're doing an hanging basket. You've already bought one lot of feed, a liquid feed, that tomato feed, that will do these, that will do your flowering plants. That is a good feed for any plants you've got when they're in flower. Yeah. When these are hung up then and they're out in the middle of summer, shall we say, or beginning of summer anyway, you want to be giving these at least, I'd say, half to 3/4 a can of water 3 times a week. Yeah. They're very greedy. They need a lot of water, a basket, because there's more gravity pulling at them because they're higher up. They're more susceptible to winds drying them out because they're higher up, because you're elevating them. So please don't think along lines as well. So we've had one of them showers of rain that we sometimes get in summer that lasts for 20 minutes and it really comes down. I don't need to water that tonight. Yeah. That'll have dried out in an hour, that 20 minutes rain, so you really do need to be watering it. If at all possible, try and water them early evenings. Or, like a lot of people are converting to now, which are, they grow a lot better for it, their ideal is them little drip systems. Yeah, what they put on. Yeah. So, yeah, good luck with that then. Like I say, it don't look too shabby at all already, that, does it?
No, it's looking well.
This moss will settle, and these will grow on, and that's how I do a basket now.
That's great.
Yep, and then of course when you've finished it, you just sort your chain out, work it over the plants, and hook it back on. But what you don't get with doing that, you don't get trapped and buried in old compost. There you go.
Smash it.
Alright, yes, so this is just a little small feature we've decided to add at the end of as videos now. We're just going to do a plant of the week. The first one I'm starting with is this little Pieris. Because that really is more of a late winter into early spring flower. So I want to catch that now while we've still got it. This one is Pieris small leaf. So it's not like the Pieris forest flame, if you're aware of that Pieris, which gets quite tall and bushy. It's a lovely little variegated leaf. It does well in shade. It'll do well in acid soil, and as long as it's not too alkaline, too high a pH, it'll be alright with that. Grow quite happily near trees in a bit impoverished soil, because it is a woodland plant. So if it's a woodland plant, it can cope with some shade. And it has these variegated leaves and these lovely red pink bracts what come out. So not actually a flower, they're a bract. So there you go, small leaf, Pieris small leaf. That's my little plant of the week.
That's great.
See you next time, Dan.
Cheers.
Down on your plot.
Yeah, down on my plot, where we're going to be looking at planting the Cornish giants out, which are the cabbage.
Yep.
And we've got some tomatoes that we need to get in.
So planting a bit of veg with Dan next week then.
Yeah.
Lovely. See you later.
See you later.